The massive space station Nexus Prime floated in the void between three star systems, its crystalline spires reaching out like frozen lightning. For 3,000 years, it had served as the heart of galactic civilization, where hundreds of alien species gathered to trade, negotiate, and govern the known universe. Dr. Velthara pressed her six-fingered hand against the cool surface of her workstation. As a Zephyrian, her body was made of living crystal that changed color with her emotions. Right now, she glowed a deep purple, the color of confusion and worry. She had been studying old survey records for weeks, and something was very wrong. The data on her screen showed information about a small yellow star called Sol, located in the outer rim of the galaxy. According to the records, the third planet from this star had been surveyed 200 years ago. The report was simple and clear. Primitive biosphere. Water present. No sentient life detected. No further investigation required. But Velthara had found something the original survey team had missed. Hidden in the background, radiation readings were tiny energy signatures, patterns that looked almost like ... technology. It was impossible. But the numbers did not lie. She had tried to explain her discovery to the Council 3 times. Each time they dismissed her concerns with polite but firm words. Counselor Vexmore, a massive beetle-like creature from the colliery hive mind, had been particularly blunt. Dr. Velthara, we have more important matters to discuss than your theories about a dead world in the Outer Rim. The Etherians' beings, made of pure energy who communicated through light patterns, had been more gentle, but equally dismissive. Young Crystalborn, they had said, you see patterns where none exist. Sol 2-3 has been surveyed. It holds no mysteries. So Sol 3 remained marked in the galactic database as it always had been, a forgotten world with no value to galactic civilization, far away from Nexus Prime. On the third planet of the Sol system, Dr. Kim Daeho stood in the center of a vast underground laboratory. Facility was built 3 kilometers beneath the surface of what was once called the Korean Peninsula. Above him, the world continued its daily routine, unaware that today would change everything. Kim was a small man with tired eyes and hands that shook slightly from too much caffeine and too little sleep. He had been working on this project for 15 years, ever since the Global Earth Alliance had formed after the climate wars ended. The Alliance had united all of humanity under one government, and their first priority had been simple: survive. The second priority had been more ambitious: reach the stars. Initiating quantum tunnel sequence, Kim announced to his team. Around him, dozens of scientists and engineers monitored, screens filled with numbers and graphs that would have been impossible to understand just 50 years earlier. The machine in the center of the lab was beautiful in its complexity. It looked like a metallic flower with petals made of superconducting materials that glowed with soft blue light. This was humanity's first faster-than-light drive, and it worked on principles that no other species in the galaxy had ever discovered. While other civilizations had learned to bend space-time to travel between stars, humans had found a different path. They had learned to merge quantum mechanics with human consciousness itself. The machine did not just move through space, it thought its way through the quantum foam that connected all points in the universe. Quantum field stable, reported Dr. Lee Hyojin, Kim's assistant. Consciousness interface is online. Kim nodded and placed his hand on the neural interface. For a moment, his mind expanded beyond his body, touching the vast network of quantum possibilities that existed between atoms. He could feel the machine's artificial intelligence merging with his thoughts, creating something that was neither fully human nor fully machine. Tunnel forming, he whispered. We have achieved faster-than-light travel, 200 kilometers away in a facility that officially did not exist. Commander Park Min-soo listened to alien radio signals. The room around him was filled with computer screens showing text in dozens of different languages, none of them human. Park had been Earth's chief intelligence officer for alien communications for 20 years. His job was simple: listen to everything the galaxy said, and make sure they never learned about Earth. For decades, humanity had been intercepting alien transmissions. They had learned to understand the major galactic languages, studied alien technology, and mapped the political relationships between different species. The aliens had no idea that a primitive world in the Outer Rim was watching their every move. Commander, said his assistant, Lieutenant Choi Yahansu, "We're detecting increased council activity. They're discussing something called Project Deep." Survey Park frowned. "Any mention of Southry?" "Not yet, sir. But there's a Zephyrian scientist who keeps requesting permission to investigate our system." Park stood up and walked to the window. Above him, the sky was clear and blue, showing no sign of the alien civilizations that controlled the galaxy. For now, Earth remained hidden, forgotten, ignored. But Kim's successful experiment had just changed everything. Soon, humanity would no longer be able to hide. The universe had forgotten that Earth existed. Very soon, they would remember, and when they did, nothing would ever be the same. Dr. Valthara's small research ship moved quietly through the darkness between stars. She had waited 3 months for this moment when the council would be busy with their annual trade negotiations. While they argued about shipping routes and tax rates, she would finally investigate the mystery of Sol-3. Her ship's computers had been programmed to avoid detection. The vessel was painted black and equipped with stealth technology that made it nearly invisible to most scanners. Valthera had spent years planning this unauthorized mission. She was not going to let bureaucrats stop her from discovering the truth. As her ship approached the Sol system, the energy readings became stronger. Her instruments detected massive power signatures coming from the third planet, signatures that were impossible according to galactic science. The readings showed technology that was not just advanced, but completely different from anything in the known galaxy. Valthara's crystal body began to glow bright orange with excitement. She had been right all along. There was intelligent life on Sol-3, and they possessed technology that the Council needed to know about. She was preparing to launch a detailed scan when her ship's warning system suddenly activated. Red lights flashed across her control panels, and a mechanical voice announced, "Unknown vessels detected. Multiple contacts approaching from all directions." Valthera looked at her displays in shock. Her scanners showed nothing, but her ship's computer insisted that she was surrounded. How was this possible? Then they appeared. 5 ships materialized around her vessel, as if they had stepped out of empty space itself. They were unlike anything Valthara had ever seen, sleek and curved, with surfaces that seemed to shift and change color in the starlight. The ships moved with impossible grace, positioning themselves in a perfect formation around her research vessel. A communication signal reached her ship. The voice that spoke was calm and polite, but there was something underneath it that made Valthera's crystal body turn pale blue with fear. "Unknown vessel. This is Captain Lee Jinwoo of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have entered restricted space without authorization. Please prepare to be boarded." Valthara's hands shook as she activated her communication system. "This is Dr. Valthara of the Galactic Council's Scientific Division. I am conducting authorized research in this system." There was a pause. When the human voice returned, it carried a tone that made Valthara realize she had made a terrible mistake. "Dr. Valthera, we know exactly who you are. We have been monitoring your research into our system for the past 6 months. We know about your 3 requests to the Council for official survey permission. We know about your unauthorized departure from Nexus Prime Station. We have been watching your civilization for 70 years. We know your languages, your trade routes, your military capabilities, and your political weaknesses." Valthara's mind went blank with shock. How could this be possible? The survey records clearly stated that South-3 had no intelligent life. Yet these beings spoke galactic standard language perfectly and claimed to have been watching the galaxy for decades. "Please allow us to board your vessel," Captain Lee continued. "We have much to discuss." Minutes later, Valthera watched in amazement as human soldiers materialized inside her ship without opening any doors or airlocks. They simply appeared, as if they had walked through the solid metal walls. Their leader was a woman with short, black hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. "I am Dr. Choi Hejin," the woman said. "Apologize for the dramatic entrance, but we needed to demonstrate our capabilities." Dr. Choi approached one of Valthera's computer terminals and placed her hand on its surface. Immediately, the screen began displaying information at impossible speeds. Data files, star charts, and technical specifications scrolled past faster than any organic mind could process. "Your computer systems are quite primitive," Dr. Choi said, conversationally, even as information continued to flow across the screen at superhuman speeds. "But they will serve our purposes." Valthera stared in horror as she realized what was happening. The human woman was interfacing directly with her ship's computer using only her mind. She was processing data at speeds that would require the most advanced artificial intelligence systems in the galaxy. "How are you doing this?" Valthera whispered. Dr. Choi smiled. "We learned to merge human consciousness with quantum computing systems. Our minds can think at the speed of quantum processors while maintaining human creativity and intuition. It's quite useful." In less than 10 minutes, Dr. Choi had downloaded everything from Valthera's computer: her research notes, her personal files, communication records with the Council, and detailed maps of galactic civilization. "Thank you for this information," Dr. Choi said. "You may return to the Council now. Please give them this message. Humanity requests a formal diplomatic meeting. We have much to offer galactic civilization, but we will only negotiate as equals." When Valthera's ship finally reached Nexus Prime, she immediately called for an emergency council session. The Great Assembly Hall filled with representatives from hundreds of species, all eager to hear about her unauthorized mission. Valthera's report caused immediate chaos. The massive Colliery delegates began clicking their mandibles in aggressive patterns, while the Etherian energy beings flickered with dangerous colors. "Impossible," declared Counselor Thexmore. "No species could develop faster than light travel without our knowledge." "The evidence is clear," Valthera replied, her crystal body now glowing bright red with stress. "They have technology that surpasses our own. They claim to have been watching us for 70 years. The Colliery demanded immediate military action. Their hive mind had reached a quick decision: any unknown species with advanced technology was a threat that must be eliminated. Etherians were more curious than afraid. Their light-based communication created complex patterns. They discussed the implications of human consciousness research. But everyone in the council chamber was thinking the same terrifying question. If humans had been watching the galaxy for 70 years without being detected, what else were they capable of? The age of galactic ignorance about Earth had ended. The age of human influence was about to begin. Admiral Kexter stood on the bridge of his flagship, Eternal Swarm, watching the small yellow star grow larger on his display screens. Round him, the greatest war fleet in galactic history moved through space in perfect formation, 200 of the most advanced warships ever built, each one capable of destroying entire planets. The Admiral was a massive creature, even by Colliery standards. His black carapace gleamed under the bridge lights, and his forearms moved constantly as he coordinated the fleet's movements. Like all Colliery, he was connected to the hive mind that linked every member of his species. Through this mental network, he could control all 200 ships as if they were extensions of his own body. Admiral reported, his tactical officer. "We are approaching the outer edge of the Sol system. Long-range scanners detect no defensive installations." Mandibles clicked in satisfaction. The Council had been worried about nothing. This primitive world clearly had no real military capability. The humans might have impressive technology for such a young species, but they were still no match for the combined might of the Colliery war machine. "Begin standard intimidation formation," Kexler ordered. "Surround the third planet and prepare to broadcast surrender demands." The fleet moved with practiced precision, spreading out to encircle Earth from all directions. Each ship was equipped with weapons that could crack continents and shields that had never been penetrated in 3 centuries of warfare. The humans would see this overwhelming display of force and immediately submit to galactic authority. But as the fleet approached Earth's orbital space, something unexpected happened. The human planet's moon suddenly flickered and disappeared. "Sensor malfunction," reported the tactical officer, his voice uncertain. "Run full diagnostics," Kexler ordered. But before the scan could complete, The moon reappeared in a completely different position. Then the human ships arrived. They did not approach from any direction that made sense. Dead, they simply materialized. In the middle of the colliery formation, appearing out of empty space as if they had stepped through invisible doors. There were only 20 human vessels, but they moved in ways that defied everything Kexter knew about space combat. The lead. Human ship opened communication channels. "This is Captain Song Ji-hoon of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have entered our system with hostile intent. Withdraw immediately, or we will be forced to defend ourselves." Kexter's forearms gestured dismissively. "Human vessel, you are outnumbered 10-1. Surrender now, and you will be treated fairly under galactic law." Admiral Captain Song replied, "You misunderstand the situation. You are not outnumbered. You are outmatched." The battle began when Kexter ordered his fleet to open fire. Energy. Beams that could melt asteroid fields lanced out toward the human ships. Every weapon struck its target perfectly, guided by targeting computers that had never missed in actual combat. The energy beams passed harmlessly through the human vessels, as if they were made of light. "Impossible," Kexter snarled. "All ships, maximum firepower." 200 warships unleashed their full destructive power simultaneously. The space around Earth lit up like a newborn star as enough energy to destroy a small moon struck the human fleet. The human ships flickered and became solid again. Not one of them showed any damage. "Thank you for the demonstration," Captain Song said calmly. "It is our turn." What happened next would be studied by military tacticians across the galaxy for centuries. The human ships began to move through space in ways that violated basic physics. They appeared in multiple locations simultaneously, phased in and out. A visible reality, attacked from angles that should have been impossible. Human weapons were unlike anything in the galactic arsenal. Instead of energy beams or explosive missiles, they fired what appeared to be concentrated information. Each shot carried instructions that told enemy systems to simply stop working. Colliery shields, which had been designed to stop any form of physical or energy attack, offered no protection against weapons that convinced their target computers to shut down voluntarily within 10 minutes. Half the colliery fleet was drifting helplessly through space, their systems disabled by attacks they could not understand or defend against. The remaining ships tried to retreat, discovered that their faster-than-light drives had been selectively disabled. Admiral Kexter watched in horror as his finest warriors were systematically defeated without a single human casualty. Even worse, the humans were not destroying his ships. They were carefully disabling them, leaving the crews alive but helpless. "This is Dr. Yoon Soo-bin," came a new voice over the communication channels. "I am transmitting medical assistance protocols to your disabled vessels. Your wounded will receive immediate treatment." True to their word, human medical teams began materializing on disabled colliery ships. They brought advanced healing technology and treated injured alien soldiers with the same care they would show their own people. Dr. Yoon's explanation of human capabilities was simple but terrifying. "We have integrated artificial intelligence directly with human consciousness. Our minds can process information at quantum speeds while maintaining human intuition and creativity. Your tactics are predictable to us because we can calculate all possible battle outcomes faster than you can think of them." As the defeated colliery fleet limped back toward galactic space under human escort, Admiral Kexter faced the most humiliating moment in his species' military history. He had brought the galaxy's finest weapons against what he thought was a primitive world and had been defeated so completely that the enemy had time to provide medical aid to his wounded. Captain Lee Jinwoo's final message to the Galactic Council was transmitted through Kexter's own communication systems. "We have no desire for conquest or domination. We seek peaceful relations with all galactic civilizations. But let this demonstration make our position clear. We will defend ourselves against any aggression. We suggest that future diplomatic contact be conducted through proper channels rather than military force." The message that reached the Council along with the surviving colliery fleet was even more disturbing than the military defeat. The humans had not acted like conquerors. They had acted like disappointed teachers dealing with misbehaving students. The Galaxy was beginning to realize that they were not dealing with another primitive species that could be easily controlled. They were facing something completely new. A civilization that combined advanced technology with a moral restraint that was entirely alien to galactic politics. The question that terrified every species in the galaxy was simple. If humans could defeat the Colony war machine so easily while showing mercy to their enemies, what would happen if they ever decided to stop being merciful? The news spread through the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Admiral Kexler's proud war fleet had been defeated by 20 human ships in 30 minutes. Not destroyed, defeated. The humans had disabled every weapon, shut down every system, and then provided medical care to the wounded. No galactic military force had ever shown such overwhelming power combined with such restraint. On 1,000 worlds, alien leaders held emergency meetings. Species that had never agreed on anything suddenly found themselves united by one emotion: fear. If the mighty Colony could be crushed so easily, what chance did anyone else have against these mysterious humans? 3 weeks after the battle, a single human ship approached Nexus Prime. It was not a warship, but a sleek diplomatic vessel that moved through space with the same impossible grace that had terrified the Colony fleet. The ship's hull seemed to shift and change color as it moved, reflecting light and patterns that hurt alien eyes to look at directly. Dr. Choi stepped out of the transport shuttle, wearing simple blue clothing that looked nothing like the elaborate robes and armor favored by galactic diplomats. She carried no weapons, no guards, and no symbols of rank. Yet every being in the massive docking bay stepped aside as she walked past. The council chamber had never been so full. Representatives from over 400 species crowded into seats, designed for half that number. The air recycling systems struggled to handle the mix of different atmospheric requirements as beings, who normally avoided each other, pressed close together to witness this historic moment. Councillor Thexmore, the senior Colony representative, rose from his seat as Dr. Choi entered. His usually proud posture was subdued, and his voice carried none of its usual authority. Dr. Choi, he said, the Galactic Council recognizes your presence. We welcome humanity to galactic civilization. Dr. Choi smiled politely but did not bow or show any of the deference that new species were expected to display. Instead, she walked to the center of the chamber and activated a holographic projector that she had brought with her. Thank you, Councillor Thexmore, she said. I'm here to discuss the future of galactic civilization. But first, let me show you what humanity can offer. The hologram displayed a star chart showing communication networks that span the entire galaxy. Instantaneous communication across unlimited distances, Dr. Choi explained. No more waiting. Months for messages to travel between star systems. Every world connected in real time. The display changed to show power generation facilities that seemed impossibly small for their output. Unlimited clean energy through matter synthesis. No more resource wars. No more dying worlds stripped bare to fuel your civilizations. Finally, the hologram showed medical facilities where beings with missing limbs grew new ones, where the elderly became young again, and where diseases that had plagued species for millennia were cured in hours. Medical nanotechnology that can repair damage at the cellular level, Dr. Choi continued. Death from injury or illness becomes a choice rather than an inevitability. The council chamber erupted in excited whispers and discussions. These technologies would solve problems that had existed since the beginning of galactic civilization. Wars had been fought over communication delays and energy resources. Entire species had gone extinct from diseases that human medicine could apparently cure with ease. But Dr. Choi raised her hand for silence, and her next words chilled the excitement in the room. Humanity is willing to share all of this technology freely with galactic civilization. But we require something in return. Fundamental changes to how the galaxy is governed. Commander Park Min-soo stepped forward, carrying data tablets that contained detailed proposals for governmental reform. His words were calm but carried the same unmistakable authority that had defeated the Colony fleet. The current council system is fundamentally unfair, he said. Ancient species like the Zephyrians and Etherians control galactic policy simply because they achieved spaceflight first. Younger civilizations have no voice, regardless of their contributions to galactic welfare. Military power determines influence, rather than wisdom or innovation. The chamber exploded in angry voices. Counselor Velshan of the Etherians flickered with dangerous colors as she responded. The current system has maintained galactic peace for 3 millennia. You cannot simply destroy established order because you possess superior weapons. Dr. Choi's response was delivered with a smile that made every being in the chamber suddenly remember what had happened to the Colliery fleet. We are not destroying anything, Counselor. We are offering to improve it. But we will not share our technology with a system that perpetuates inequality and injustice. 8. It was then that Dr. Kim Dae-ho revealed the discovery that would shake the foundations of galactic understanding. He activated his own holographic display showing archaeological evidence from sites across the galaxy. The galaxy believes that Earth was ignored because it appeared primitive, Dr. Kim said. This is not true. Earth was hidden. The hologram showed ancient ruins on dozens of worlds, all bearing the same mysterious symbols. These were the remnants of the predecessors, the legendary species that had seeded the galaxy with life. Billions of years ago, before mysteriously vanishing, the predecessors did not vanish, Dr. Kim continued. They evolved beyond physical existence and have been watching galactic development ever since. Earth was concealed by predecessor technology until humanity proved worthy of joining galactic civilization. The implications were staggering. If the predecessors still existed and had been protecting Earth, then humanity was not just another species with advanced technology. They were the chosen successors to the galaxy's original creators, Dr. Choi. Let the significance of this revelation sink in before making her final statement. Humanity offers partnership, not domination. We seek to lift all civilizations higher than they have ever imagined possible. But we will only work within a system based on merit and contribution rather than age and military might.
Else.
Within hours, the galaxy had split into 3 distinct factions. The Progressive Alliance, led by species like the peaceful Verdani botanists, embraced humanity's proposals enthusiastically. The Neutral Coalition, including many smaller civilizations, adopted a wait-and-see approach, but the conservative faction, dominated by ancient species who had controlled galactic politics for millennia, saw humanity's proposals as a direct threat to their power. The Sarkos hegemony, a militaristic empire that had always believed in rule through strength, made their position clear with a simple declaration broadcast across the galaxy. The Sarkos hegemony does not negotiate with upstart primitives who threaten galactic stability. Humanity will submit to established authority or face the consequences. War was coming to the galaxy. But this time, the outcome would not be decided by whoever had the biggest fleet or the most powerful weapons. It would be decided by whoever could best adapt to a universe where the rules had fundamentally changed. Humanity had offered the galaxy a choice: evolve or be left behind. The Sarkos hegemony had chosen to fight instead of evolve. They would soon learn the price of that decision. War came to the galaxy on a Tuesday morning, Galactic Standard Time. The Sarkos hegemony had spent 6 months preparing for this moment, gathering their allies and building the largest military force in recorded history. 3,000 warships from 12 different species formed a massive armada that stretched across several star systems. General Zackstar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Throne, watching the final preparations. His reptilian features were twisted into what his species considered a smile. The Sarkos had ruled through military might for over 1,000 years, and they were not about to let some upstart humans change that now. General reported as tactical. Officer, all fleets are in position. We have Earth surrounded from 6 different directions. The human colonies at Alpha Centauri and Proxima are also under siege. Zackstar nodded with satisfaction. The humans had made a critical error by spreading their forces too thin. Their small fleet could not possibly defend multiple star systems simultaneously against such overwhelming numbers. Begin the attack, he ordered. Show these primitives what happens when they challenge the natural order. 3,000 ships opened fire at once. Energy beams that could melt moons streaked toward Earth and the human colonies. Missiles capable of cracking planets followed in massive waves. The combined firepower was enough to destroy entire solar systems, but the weapons never reached their targets. Instead, the beams and missiles simply disappeared, as if they had never existed at all. The space around Earth flickered for a moment, and then everything returned to normal. "Weapons malfunction," shouted the tactical officer. "All systems show normal operation, but nothing is reaching the targets." Before Zackstar could respond, human ships began appearing throughout the Sarcos formation. They did not arrive from any direction that made sense. Instead, they seemed to step out of invisible doorways in space itself, emerging from what looked like tears in the fabric of reality. Captain Song Ji-hoon's voice echoed through the communication channels of every ship in the Sarcos fleet. "General Zackstar, you have made a serious mistake. We offered you peace, and you chose war. Now you will learn why that was unwise." The human ships began to move in ways that defied everything the galaxy knew about physics. They appeared in multiple locations simultaneously, creating dozens of copies of themselves. They passed through solid matter as if it were empty space. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to know exactly what the Sarcos forces would do before they did it. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Zackstar commanded, but his words were meaningless. The human vessels were already moving to intercept the ships before he finished giving the order. Human soldiers began materializing inside Sarcos vessels without opening airlocks or cutting through holes. They simply walked through the solid metal walls as if they were made of mist. These soldiers moved within human speed and precision, disabling weapon systems and life support with surgical accuracy. "How are they doing this?" Zackstar demanded, but his officers had no answers. Everything they were witnessing violated the basic laws of physics that governed galactic civilization. The answer came from Dr. Yoon Suben, whose calm voice reached every ship in the Sarcos fleet. "You are witnessing the integration of human consciousness with quantum dimensional technology. Our soldiers exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Our ships can access parallel realities where your weapons do not exist. Our tactical systems can calculate probability streams that show us your decisions before you make them." Within an hour, half the Sarcos fleet was disabled. The human forces had not destroyed a single enemy vessel or killed a single enemy soldier. Instead, they had systematically shut down every weapon, every shield, and every engine in the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever assembled. But General Zackstar was not ready to surrender. The Sarcos had never lost a war, and he would not be the first to break that tradition. He ordered his remaining ships to ram the human vessels, hoping to destroy them through sheer kinetic force. That was when Dr. Yoon revealed humanity's ultimate capability. "I am sorry you have chosen this path," she said sadly. "But you leave us no choice but to demonstrate our most advanced technology." The space around the Sarcos fleet began to shimmer and distort. Suddenly, every ship in the Armada found itself experiencing the same moment over and over again. They would charge toward the human vessels, fire their weapons, and then suddenly find themselves back where they started, preparing to charge again. "Temporal manipulation field activated," Dr. Yoon explained. "You are trapped in a localized time loop. You will continue to experience this moment of defeat until you choose to surrender." For what felt like hours, but was actually only minutes in normal time, the Sarcos fleet lived through their defeat repeatedly. They watched their weapons fail, their ships become disabled, their soldiers captured, over and over again. Showed them more clearly how hopeless their situation had become. Finally, General Zackstar's voice crackled over the communication channels. "Enough. We surrender. Please, no more." The time loop ended, and the Sarcos fleet found itself drifting helplessly in space, surrounded by human ships that had barely expended any effort to achieve total victory. The news of the Sarcos' defeat reached every corner of the galaxy within hours. The most powerful military force in known space had been crushed in less than 3 hours by a human fleet that was outnumbered 100 to 1. But more shocking than the military victory was, what happened next? Instead of occupying Sarcos' territory or demanding tribute, The humans simply escorted the defeated fleet back to their home worlds and provided medical care to the wounded. They offered to share their technology with the Sarcos just as they had offered to share it with everyone else. The old Galactic Council dissolved within a week. The ancient species who had controlled galactic politics for millennia found themselves facing a simple choice: adapt to the new reality or become irrelevant. The new Galactic Confederation was formed with Dr. Choi Ejin as its first Director General. Dr. Velthara, the Zephyrian scientist who had first discovered humanity, became Deputy Director for Xenological Affairs. Representatives from every species in the galaxy, no matter how small or young their civilization, were given equal voices in the new government. The galaxy's final lesson about humanity came from Dr. Kim Daeho's explanation of how humans had achieved such impossible technological advances. Other species see problems and accept them as unchangeable facts, he said. Humans see problems as puzzles to be solved. Where you see limitations, we see possibilities. Where you see obstacles, we see opportunities. The universe had not bowed to Earth through conquest or intimidation. Instead, it had bowed through respect earned by lifting every civilization higher than they had ever imagined possible. Humanity had kept their promise. It offered partnership, not domination. They had shared their knowledge freely with anyone willing to embrace change and growth. The galaxy would never be the same. But for the first time in its history, every species in known space had an equal chance to reach for the stars and achieve things they had never dared to dream. The age of human leadership had begun. It's not through force, but through the simple act of showing others that there was always a better way.